Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we will learn a few things about reindexing. So we will first learn what reindexing actually is, and then we will try to reindex a particular series by creating a series, and also after that we will learn how to go ahead and reindex a data frame as well. So in this section, as we are learning about series and data frames, first we will reindex a series and then we will reindex a particular data frame. So by reindexing, what we mean is that reindexing is nothing but reindexing means to create a new object with the data confirmed to a new index. So if you have difficulty understanding this thing, let's go ahead and directly take an example to understand what reindexing actually looks like. So the first thing which we need to do is that we need to create a series over here. So let's first import series. So from pandas import series. So let's import the series, and after importing series, let's also create a series by typing, let's say, obj equals series, and then you could create any kind of series which you want. So in this case, let's go ahead and create a series of numbers. So let's say that's going to be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So let's also go ahead and specify some index values over here rather than having the by default index values. So we will type in index equals, and let's say we give it some index like, let's say D, let's say A, B, E, and let's say the final one is going to be C. So this is 1 2 3 4 5, so 5 values and 5 indexes. So once you do that, and once you go ahead and print this object over here, you're obviously going to get a series with predefined indexes over here like this. So as you could see, if you want to arrange these index values into an alphabetical order, that is, let's say you want to reindex, that is, you basically want to define which index should be first and which index should be last. So that thing is nothing but is called as reindexing. So let's say you want to arrange the values in a way like A, B, C, D and E. So you could do that by using the reindex function. So what you simply need to do is that we need to create an object, or you could also store this object into the previous object as well. So you could type in obj equals obj dot reindex, and you could actually go ahead and after typing in you could use tab to complete the code. So if you press the tab button, as you could see, you could select the reindex option. So this is one shortcut to write in the code, and after that, after typing in reindex, what you need to do is that in brackets, within square brackets, you do need to specify the new index which you want. So in this case, we want A to be the first one, then you want B, after that you want C, D, and finally you want E. So once you have specified the index, let's go ahead and also print out the object. So if you run this code now, you could notice the entire series is now reindexed. That is, basically, instead of having this index structure wherein D, A, B, C, E, now you have reindexed all those values to A, B, C, D and E. And one thing to note here is that on the index position A you have 200, and in this case as well you have 200 on the index position A. That is, the values of a series at a particular index do not change. Here we have simply changed the order over here, and the values which are associated with each index remain intact. So this is how you could go ahead and carry out reindexing on a particular series. Okay, so once we have learned how to go ahead and reindex a particular series, let's go ahead and learn how we could go ahead and reindex a particular data frame. So for reindexing a particular data frame, we could actually go ahead and use this particular data frame which we have created. So if you don't have this data frame right now with you, what you could simply do is that you could simply type in this particular code to create that data structure, and after that you could create a frame by typing frame equals, let's say, data frame, and to this data frame you could pass in the data structure, and that's actually going to create a frame for you. So simply type in frame here to reconfirm. So this is actually the creation of a simple frame which we have done previously as well, but if some of you might have watching this lecture for the very first time, this is how you create a frame. Now let's learn how we could go ahead and reindex a particular frame. So in case of a data frame, we actually have two indexes. So first we will learn how to reindex these particular rows. So in order to reindex these particular rows, what we could do is that we could type in frame equals frame dot reindex, and in here you could type in the index as let's say another sequence which is 0, 2, 1. So you simply need to type in reindex, then have brackets, and within that particular brackets you need to have square brackets, and you need to define the new index sequence over here. So once you do that, let's also print in the frame over here. So once you run this code, as you could see now, the values for this particular row are reindexed, and instead of 0, 1, 2, now we have 0, 2 and 1. So now the final thing which we will learn in this case is how to basically go ahead and reindex the columns in this particular data frame. So in order to reindex a particular column, the first thing which we need to do is that we need to first define the sequence which we want for that particular data frame. So what you could do is that you could create a new sequence. So we will type in fields equals, and this time what we will do is that we'll specify the name first. So in single quotes, let's type in name, then let's say we want the age, and then finally let's say we want the salary. So once the sequence is defined, what you simply need to do is that you need to type in your frame name, which is frame in this case. So frame equals frame dot, again type in reindex, and in here, instead of passing in the sequence like this, what you could do is that you could type in columns equals, and to this columns you could pass in this new sequence which is fields over here. And actually I misspelled fields over here, that should be FIELDS. So column is going to be equal to FIELDS, which stands for fields. And finally you could print out the frame over here so as to check if the changes are actually made. So if you execute this code, as you could see, now we have reindexed the column values for this particular data frame. So that's it for this lecture, and in this lecture we have learned about reindexing, that is how to basically reindex a particular series, and how to reindex a particular data frame. So in a series we only have one sort of index to reindex, but in case of a data frame we have two options, that is to reindex a particular column or to reindex a particular row. So that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture we will learn about deleting entries from an axis. So we will learn how we could go ahead and delete rows and columns from a particular data frame. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.